So we've obviously had more people than anticipated, so apologies for those who are having to stand. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everyone, for standing. I'm just going to do the introduction very briefly and then step away and leave you in the capable hands of Sarah. And thank you very much to Lucy, first of all. Hopefully everyone knows Lucy Marks, who's been putting together these networking meetings for us. My name's Stephen Gurney. I'm the Executive Director of Norwich BID. We are the Business Improvement District for Norwich, and this space is ours. We work on behalf of the business community in the city centre. We're funded by about 700 businesses who contribute 1% of their rateable value as a levy into a shared pot, which really is given funding to be able to do things that help support the working and trading environment of the city. And one of the things that the business community had identified as things that they would really like to look at is support for training, advice, networking, things that will help the business community coming out of the pandemic to come together, to be able to learn from each other, to be able to create those relationships and partnerships. And this is one of those opportunities. I think we're now into phase 2, aren't we, of our... we weren't quite sure how amazingly well they would be received, so we started, had a go, and they were sold out, I think, every single one, which is brilliant. So we're now going again and thinking that this is obviously something that is valued, and thank you for giving up a bit of your time or your lunchtime to do these. The bid itself works in sort of 3 areas, really, around promotion, marketing, PR of the city, or around the experience of the city. So is it safe, secure, animated? Is there lots going on? Is it a really enjoyable place to live and to work? And the last one is providing support or networking or advice to the business community, providing a voice to the business community on things like transport, accessibility, things that happen in the city that really have an impact on the business community, but often we're not the first port of call when they're making those decisions. So by working collaboratively on behalf of the businesses and the city centre, we can make the city as successful as we can. Here today we've got a great group of people, and Sarah I'm going to hand over to now, who's doing the speech for today, and I'll leave you in Sarah's hands.
I think Lucy
might Lucy, are you going to do the introductions? Shall I hand off seamlessly to Sarah and sashay my way?
You've created a nice speaker chair there for you. Yeah, thank you so much, Stefan. I'm Lucy Marks, and I run the Norfolk Network. We're a very active and connected community business membership community for founders, creators of startups and growing businesses, and also we have a very strong partnership with the university, with UEA, so we get access, we give academics and students access to the Norfolk Network. So people come together because they want to share their knowledge, or they want to learn, or they want to develop business partnerships. And also they want to be part of a local community in Norwich. So I spend most of my days sort of discovering people, championing people, and making some trusted introductions, but also providing sort of platform, different types of platforms for members to talk, for members to hear things, and inspirational speakers. And this is why I'm really excited that this has become one of our new platforms. Working in conjunction, in partnership with Norwich BID. This gives us an opportunity to hear some really interesting stories, journeys in business, innovations, and some real words of wisdom from very experienced business leaders. So it's my turn now to introduce to Sarah. Now I just want to read a little quote that I came across, which I thought was quite applicable to you, Sarah. So to accomplish great things, we must not only act, but also dream. Not only plan, but also believe. Now, ever since I've known Sarah, she's just radiates positivity and sunshine and always smiling, but I know it's much more complex than that. Sarah has built a tremendous business in Redcat, which I think is over 20 years old now.
I think 23.
Yeah, Redcat Partnership. And also took on this enormous task of renovating a derelict Victorian house, number 8 Thorpe Road, and turning it into a beautiful environment for businesses to work. I think that's 6 years old now, isn't it? She also took up the helm of Proudly Norfolk, helping to build and invigorate a community of food and drink professionals and businesses. And then I remember Sarah coming to me and saying, I'd like to apply for that scholarship at Norfolk Network. We have a scholarship for doing the MBA at UEA. And she took it on board. I think in 2018, still a smile on her face in 2020, when she passed it flying colours during the pandemic, and also steering and navigating her businesses through the pandemic. So a bit of an amazing woman, really. So can I introduce you? Would you join me in welcoming Sarah Daniels?
I was very honoured when Lucy asked me to come and do this presentation, although ever since I've said yes, I've got more and more out of my comfort zone, because it's talking about me and my mindset, not about health and safety or planning or organisation or just bossing people around. One of the things Lucy and I chatted about was about how I always have my happy pants on. And I was going to come with some Superman pants on my head, but I thought, no, that would be far too silly for a business networking event. But one of the things that I really need to start you off with, because this is about provoking some thoughts in your head, in the little introduction that's online about me, it's about, we have a choice, don't we, about being happy or miserable. Who really, really wants to be miserable every day? That's none of you then. So I think we can all make a choice every single morning when we get up. Do I put my happy pants on or do I put my grumpy pants on? I'm not saying every day I have my happy pants on. I'm often likened to Tigger and will come bounding into a room, as you've said, full of energy. But there are some days that I get a bit Eeyore and I really want to sit in the corner and be left alone. But those little moments don't last for very long, because I suddenly think, no, it's me that's grumpy, the rest of the world's not grumpy. I just need to pull on those big girl pants again and off I go. And reflecting on what's going on in the world at the moment, I'm torn between wanting to read absolutely everything about what's going on in Ukraine or moving to an island in the Seychelles and not actually listening to any social media at all. And I'm bounding backwards and forwards between that at the moment. But it's about reframing that. What can we do to help the people in Ukraine? And I can wax lyrical about that as well. But I have a job to do today. And I brought along in my head Rudyard Kipling. Rudyard Kipling wrote about 6 honest serving men or women who would always be there and teach us what we know. And it gives me some structure to talk about mindset today. So if nobody knows about Rudyard Kipling and the 6 honest serving women who taught him everything he knows, it's about who, what, where, why, who, when, all of that. So that's the structure, and I will wobble on. If I've got a couple of hecklers in the audience as well, I'm quite happy for that as well. I wanted to sit down so it was a little bit more informal, and I'm a complete fidget pants. So it does actually make sense that I've got one foot hooked behind the other. I have got my little fidget toy in my pocket as well. So if you do notice me twiddling, it's because I'm trying to keep calm when you're all looking at me. Here we go then. So let's start with the who. Who is an interesting one, isn't it? Because people will always make an assumption about who you are. I'm here at the front. Lucy's bigged me up again. Stefan's bigged me up. But who am I? I'm just me. You're just you. I was born in Norfolk, grew up in a very traditional, poor family background. I had no silver spoon, I had nothing. I went to the local comprehensive school. This is not meant to be a sob story, by the way. But even during my growing up years, where I had a grandfather that didn't think I was worth investing in, let's call it that. But I wanted to go to university, I was determined. And I think sometimes my mindset is, if somebody tells me I can't do something, I bloody well am going to do it, and I'm going to do it well. So luckily, I managed to get enough grades in my A-levels to allow me to go to university, but that's a whole different story. I did fail one very, very spectacularly and ended up at Trent Poly. But boy, was that awesome. In the days when polys were fab, before, there wasn't all the red brick sort of formality to it. And I chose a course that was advised to me by my careers advisor. And one of the things that I'll talk about through this is about key people in my world that have given me a kick up the arse or a really big nudge. So my careers teacher, we sat down and I said, I don't want a boring job. I'm very fickle. I get bored really, really easily. I want to be outside. I don't want to be sat at a desk. And luckily, she just met a health and safety inspector. And boom, she thought I would be ideal for that. And off I went, got myself qualified. But the good thing about failing one of my A-levels was that I knew I had to work hard to get my degree. So my mindset from failure changed to, you've got to work hard. O-levels were easy peasy for me. I got 11, just waded through them, didn't even bat an eyelid. I don't think I even revised. That's not an arrogantness, it just shows that actually if you read a lot, you can do whatever you want to. My degree was another thing. I worked so hard, ate a lot of chocolate, drank quite a lot of gin. That's where it started, Lucy. So I qualified. I qualified into a world that was full of men. I'm not going to go on a raging feminist rant, but I might. I think from back to my childhood, and I've mentioned my grandfather, he didn't look after my grandma very well at all and was quite belittling. And again, I think that was a sage moment for me. I'm not going to let anybody put me down the way he put her down. And she's my rock. Unfortunately not with us anymore, but you still have Nana Daniels moments. And you think, yeah, come on. And Lucy knows it was my auntie's funeral last week, my Nana's daughter. And I waltzed into the funeral. The special niece has arrived, just like Auntie Bibi would have done. And everybody said, my God, you still look like your Nana, don't you? You were her all over again. So that's been brilliant. So back to where I was. Where was I? Sliding door moment, university, qualifying into a man's world. I can do that, I thought. I can really do that. But it wasn't that easy. I qualified in 1988. I'm 55 this year. I'm very proud of it. But 1988 was a very different place. Some of you might not have even been born, and that's going to make me feel awful. But 1988, it was still a fairly grim time. And looking back on it, I'm thinking, yeah, I remember Russia, I remember Ukraine, I remember Chernobyl actually blowing up, and I know exactly where I was that day. So this whole history with Ukraine right now is quite awful for me, because what I did after I did my degree was another A-level. I wanted to have that A-level that I didn't get, so I did another one, and I did it in European history, not maths that I failed. So, but the European history was on the bit about in between the wars. Anyway, so into a man's world. I needed a big girl pants mindset, didn't I? There were hardly any female inspectors. Everything was geared towards blokes. You'd rock up to a business to do your health and safety inspection, and they go, who are you? And it made me have to be twice as good, 3 times as good, 5 times as good, whatever number you want to put on it. And it was an incredible time for growth for me, about thinking, I can do this. I can work hard and I can achieve what I want. But to cut that part of the story short, being an inspector didn't actually suit my mindset. I'm far more helpful than I am about telling people off. I'm a really helpful bunny. And that's come into the fore now, because I will still mentor start-up businesses. But being treated like about this big. I'd had my daughter by then, Jasmine's her name, And I went back to work, wanted to go part-time. First thing they said was, no, you can't do your job being part-time. And I went, without the swear words, yes, I can. And went to see a lawyer, and they said, yeah, it's going to be constructive dismissal, clean-cut case. Again, one of those sliding door moments of the person that said, he looked at me, the lawyer, and went, but that's not you, is it? In the half an hour that you've been in my office, that's not you. Go and do something that's you. So I left. So actually I left a really well-paid job with an awesome pension and a car allowance and started a business. And then another mindset thing happened, because people said you needed to wear suits, you needed to have this, you needed to do that. No, I don't want to be any of that. I want to be my own boss, and I want to be who I want to be. So running my own business has actually created a really good mindset for me. I can break some of those barriers. I can do what I want. I am completely unemployable now.
I employ you there.
But actually people do employ me. This is the really wild thing. So being a health and safety inspector, I now actually help people with their risk management, which is one of the hardest things that people have in their businesses. And I go in and hold their hands, and I have a whale of a time. People pay me to talk to them. People pay me to have an opinion. It is absolutely fantastic. So one of my take-home bits for you is actually do what you love, find what you want. Don't be that square peg in a round hole. There is something out there that will make your dreams come alive. You've got to believe that it's there. We can fail a few times, can't we? Failure is learning. I failed at being a boring, sodding old health and safety inspector, but I think I make an awesome businesswoman. Most of the world. And I've got my happy pants on. So that's who I am. I'm just me. I'm a local girl, went away, came back, had a whale of a time, and now I absolutely love my city and will champion this city. And as Sapphire knows, she's nodding sagely at me, will promote every single other business that's here as well. I'm very community spirited, which lends me onto the what. See, there is structure to this, Lucy. I'm not just gabbling. So our mindset, the what, is a set of beliefs that we've got. I had a belief that a business owner needed to be somebody that was formal and suited and booted and went to big fry-up business breakfast networking things. No, you don't need to do any of that. Some of us can get stuck in a very fixed mindset. So, I don't know, one of my first failures, my A-levels. I could have just gone, no, I'm not going to do that anymore, but I didn't. I went, no, I'm going to carry on. I'm going to have this chance, go to a poly, but I'm going to bash this degree and be awesome. I've invested in businesses that have failed. And not a lot of people know this, and I thought, shall I share this? Shall I share this absolute bit of vulnerability? I lost probably £500,000 just before I wanted to start Number 8 Thorpe Road. Did it stop me starting it? Did I think that actually just because that business wasn't right for me, that this next one wasn't going to be? And you're thinking, oh, she's lucky, she could afford Number 8 Thorpe Road. You should have seen the size of the fecking mortgage when we started. I had to persuade the bank manager that, on the back of a fag packet almost, actually it was the back of a coaster in Costa opposite the train station, that I could actually achieve enough to pay the mortgage. And he just went, yes. So John, the bank manager from Santander, believed in me, and another one of those people in my world. But if it wasn't John, would I have found another bank manager? Probably. Because actually, I was determined to do what I wanted to do. And I remember, Lucy, the first time you came in, you went, oh, you're such a disruptor. And I thought, no, I'm just being me. But actually, that stayed in my head, because it is actually doing something different. I don't have a fixed mindset. It's very easy, and I think the pandemic has made it easier for some people to just be, to just keep in their comfort zone and just poodle along. We are, as human beings, naturally lazy, and I understand that from a behavioural safety point of view, from my real world. but we will just get by. No, I got up every single day, still went down to the office, still put the very expensive coffee machine on, and was making 2 coffees, 3, 4 coffees a day. That was it, and it's designed to make 100. But I thought, sod it, I'm going to have a good cup of coffee. I'm going to do all the things that, you know, I really, really want. So please have a growth mindset. Always think that you can do something. Our beliefs become our actions. If you believe you can, you absolutely will. And the reason I wanted to tell you about my background, you know, there were days when I was growing up that we didn't have enough to eat. That's not for sympathy. It means that you can change what you're doing. You really can if you believe that you can, if you want to get yourself out of where you've started from. So that was the what. Now we've got the when. I think the when for me is all the while. I'm not this bubbly every single day. There are days that I will retreat into my new project, which is renovating a 1958 house that has had sod all done to it in the 60 years that the guy lived in it. So I'll sit in the conservatory that when I viewed the house hated it because it had pink blinds and mouldy windows. But I've got rid of all of that and I sit there and I'll ponder. So actually I can be quiet, I can reflect. I'm a natural activist. I like to do things. I learn by doing. I'm also quite kinesthetic and I learn by feeling. But sometimes I need to retreat into myself. So that means, why I'm saying that is because you don't just have to fit into one box. You can be an extroverted introvert or an introverted extrovert. You could be noisy one day, bold the next, whatever. You can be who you want to be. Nobody has said you have to fit this mindset unless you believe social media. Yeah? I'm struggling at the moment. I've got a 25-year-old daughter and it's all about comparisons, isn't it? You've got to look like this. You've got to be this height, this weight, wear this makeup, go to this place, follow this. Oh gosh, and it is causing all sorts of issues. And she's a strong 25-year-old. I really do wonder about the generation coming up behind us. That's really quite tough. I'm glad I did my growing up and mistakes without Instagram. We could be so naughty without it, couldn't we? Although, again, at my auntie's funeral last week, I bumped into a guy that I was at school with. Oh no, what did I do? He was fine. I hid quite nicely. Suddenly saw somebody else I needed to speak to. So the when. We choose when we can be who we want to be. And it can be absolutely all the while. Which leads me to how. How is about being true to ourselves. Not fitting or conforming to what you think people think you should do. Back into my granddad's shoes. My granddad wanted me to marry a rich farmer so he could have more land and do whatever he wanted. Hell no. That was not going to happen. Although one of the guys that I was at school with and we've kept in touch, Bruce, does have his own farm now and he was prime candidate for it and we still laugh. And I needed some straw bales the other day. Who did I phone? Bruce. I need a couple of straw bales. Oh God, he said, you're so naughty. So naughty. But anyway, how? For me, what else do I want to tell you about how? Sometimes I struggle with this because at the moment I do have all my eggs in one basket. I am married to my co-director. We live and work together every single day. We've just bought a renovation project. You know, the world, everything is there. When COVID hit, that was the worst thing for me. All our income was from one source and we lost 86% of it overnight. And I remember doing one of your mixes. I think I might have cried. Oh, I really did cry, didn't I? I was trying to remember, did I cry? And I'm thinking, yeah, I probably did. But I remember one of the other business owners that was on the course phoned me afterwards and went, thank you for crying. It made the rest of us think that it was crap as well, rather than putting on that bravado that we were all going to be okay. Yeah, it was crap, losing all that amount of business. But I remember, and again, this is my dad having a sliding door moment with me. He phoned and I was having a right, I'm wailing down the phone, Dad, I'm going to lose everything. And he went, shut up. Shut up and listen to me. He said, I know you never want to listen to me, and you've hardly ever listened to me all of your life, but listen to me now. He said, you can do it. You really can do it. He said, don't let a little virus get in the way of your dream, of your journey. And that was a moment for me. And I went downstairs into one of the other offices, got the pens out, every single conceivable colour, and wrote across the whiteboard in little 8 behind where I sit. And literally, the business plan changed. I was scribbling things out, I was writing things, and I just re-pivoted. I hate that word. Whatever we'd supposed to have done, I don't know, did a fairy dance or whatever, sprinkled some dust on it, and I thought, no, I'm going to do this. We binned off some clients that we didn't like, we really worked out the cost of everything. And that's one thing in business, when you're doing okay, you forget how much the little things cost. So we broke everything down. So I know how much a cup of coffee, 2 cups of coffee a day, cost out of my £7 coffee machine, and I thought, sod it, I'm still going to have it. And in the end, I actually used the bounce back loan to pay off the loan for my solar panels that I wanted, the coffee machine, my car loan and everything. So I actually I did have a phone call with the accountant, and I said, can I do this? Because it felt a bit naughty, taking the government money, and then using it to pay off some debt, and then I had a whale of time. But it's about deciding what you're going to do when you're faced, and we were facing financial ruin. 2 directors, no income. Where were we going to get any money from? And we just had to go for it. We had to relearn some stuff. We do a bit of training. I hate talking to the camera, but Richard's quite good at it. So he did a lot of Zoom training. I did a lot of marketing. We just thought, we knuckled down, and every day we went in and we made that new business plan work. Which leads me to the where, because I think the where is important. Where you do your business, where you live, where is your tribe, actually got me through lockdown, because my tribe was here, and Lucy was part of it, is that lovely Norfolk community. We were there for each other, we opened up to each other, we had the difficult conversations, we talked about collaboration a lot more, and we got ourselves all the way through it. I did a couple of risk assessment webinars for the bid, and Stefan went, you're really going to give those? Yeah, let me just do them. Let me just help people do their risk assessments. If I can get some other businesses to survive, then it means Norfolk will survive. And it's been awesome. Those people are still in contact. So know your where, know your tribe. I am grateful in that I have a fairly informal, non-executive board. We're doing cocktails on Saturday night, that's how informal it is. But it's a group of other business people that you can ask anything of, and you're not afraid of going, that wanker company over there are not paying at the moment, what do you think we should do? And you'll find out that they've all got the same problem. Anyway. Oh dear. And the last one, shall we finish before I swear any more? The why. So remember the serving women. Why has been a key question all the way through my life. Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? Why are you doing that? Why? And actually that's proved really awesome for me to understand. And you understand people more when you ask why. There is a theory called Ishikawa's theory about asking 5 whys on a fish spine. If you get anything going on in your head, like, I'm wearing my Eeyore pants today. Why am I wearing my Eeyore pants? Well, it's because you're a bit worried about something. Why? And you keep going until you find the real why. And the real why is probably not anything great at all. And the real why is probably you could just go for a walk, have a bit of cake, have a coffee, ring somebody, and then you're back with your happy pants on. So ask yourselves the why. So to finish, I have 10 top tips. Here we go. I thought it ought to be sensible. Everything we need is actually within us. It's all here. You've got to find your passion. You've got to find your why, haven't you? Focus on what you want and not what you don't want. If any of you come to my office right now, underneath my laptop is a mood board. It literally is a piece of paper like this with pictures of what I want. I will manifest what I want. I see it every single day. You've got to believe that you can have it. There have been times when I've manifested money, and it's literally been a picture of 50 quid notes. But money is not my reason for doing things. It enables me to do the things that I want to do. But often just manifesting money is a good thing. That sounds a bit woo and hippie, but if you keep seeing what you want, you will go for it. I'm currently manifesting a lovely white beach, to be fair. 3, believe you can cope with anything that life throws at you. And I remember this distinctly from when I was a bit scared about having Jazz. I'm the short one in the family, everybody is tall, she was a huge baby. And I remember the midwife saying to me, we've been giving birth for millions of years, Sarah, just get on with it. And that was that slap round the face that I actually needed. And we have to believe. If you don't believe, then your dream is not big enough, is it? You need to believe that you can do whatever you want to do. This has been a hard one for me, number 4. You occasionally need to prioritise your own needs. I used to be quite crap at saying no, and I got to about 40-ish, and I started saying no or not yet, and that was a revelation. No is a complete sentence. If you don't want to do something, say so. We've had clients come back post-COVID that were quite mean to us during COVID, and I had a conversation last week, and I said, sorry, I don't have the capacity to deal with your business at the moment. That was such a good no, wasn't it? Didn't like them. Go away. Self-love and self-talk are important. You've got to love yourself. This is about, harping back to social media. Those people are fake. We're real. We can pinch each other, can't we? We're really real. We don't have to subscribe to a certain look or feel. Just be yourself. And what we say to ourselves is really important. The more we say the negative things, the more we'll go down that rabbit hole of anxiety, depression, whatever. We've got to big ourselves up, not in a bragging way. And just as an analogy, when you're having a tough time, just put one foot in front of another and carry on. The simple steps, just do them. Don't think you've got to get right to the end. Just take a little step. I may come across as quite confident, but I was quite vulnerable earlier and said, actually, I'm really out of my comfort zone. I still am really out of my comfort zone. And one of my key phrases is, I've just got to fake it. You've all come because you wanted to listen to me. Therefore, listen to me. Still scared? Failing doesn't make you a failure. Failure is absolutely a learning point. I have failed so many times in my 54 years, but every time you just need to reflect on it and think, actually, no, what did I learn from that? Let me just take myself out of that. Sometimes, and this is why your tribe is good, look at yourself from how somebody else would see you. On the face of it, you can be one thing, can't you? But think how other people see you. You're all successful. You've all got here today. You've all got dressed. Not Zoom anymore, is it? Still got my trainers on though. They haven't quite gone away yet. I couldn't think I could walk in a pair of heels anymore. 2 years. Be comfortable in being you. We are all absolutely unique. There is not another person like any one of us. And we need to relish that and be proud of who we are. We are all incredibly special. But please don't compare yourself to someone else. I think one of I said it earlier, didn't I, about when we started number 8, oh, you're lucky. I'm thinking, no, you should see the size of my mortgage. I bought a new car. Somebody at Proudly Norfolk went, oh, you're doing all right. I went, You could have the car loan as well, love. You know, come on. And I think the most important one, that's why I've left it is to last, is know what success looks like for you. Success for me is about my beautiful, very intelligent daughter, 2 businesses, carrying on with a social enterprise, and now my renovation project. But for me, I'm really happy in myself. So that's what my success looks like. It's feeling happy enough to come and talk to a bunch of strangers about mindset. So there you go. That's me. Now can I have a drink?